How does this happen? 32 cards come out of the blue and get submitted to PSA.
In a world full of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, grading, selling, buying, one card game remains supreme. One man has the insights you need to know. Watch and subscribe now. YugiohTube.
What's up, YouTube? YugiohTube discussing the card that so many people are just intrigued by, for good reason. The corrected art Dark Paladin. What's the deal with this card? Is it worth the current price point? PSA 10, 5, 6, 7. PSA 9, 2+ thousand. This is a card that has gone up substantially in the last year. Last year, you're talking, or the last 2 years, you're talking 700 for a PSA 9, about 1.5 for a PSA 10. Okay? And again, if you don't understand what happened with these cards, Upper Deck said, oh crap, we've produced the wrong artwork. If you want your corrected artwork, which is the sideways view, we'll send it back to you. If you send the view like this, the MFC first edition, we'll replace it for you, but you gotta mail it. And a lot of people, their thinking is, well, nobody's gonna do that, right? What 10-year-old's gonna want to replace their card? Even what player is gonna want to replace their card? It's gotta be the hardcore collectors. There wasn't much internet back then, right? And a lot of people didn't really know. So, if you asked me a year ago, when it was 7, 1.5 for the 9 and 10 respectively, I would have said it's very undervalued. If you ask me now, you ask me today, card is way too risky to hold. And let me preface this by saying, I did sell mine a few months ago, and I let the buyer know, look, I think this card is not a great investment piece. I think there's a lot more on the market than a lot of people really think. He said, that's fine. I don't want it as an investment. I want it for collection. I said, great. Great dude, a true collector. And we made a deal, and I'm grateful for that, and I thank him again if he's watching this video. But here's the kicker, in which I told him, I said there's a lot on the market possibly popping up. April 2019, 32 Dark Paladins submitted. April 2019, 32 corrected Dark Paladins were submitted to PSA. 19 of them came back PSA 10s. The rest, the 13 others, 8s and 9s. How does this happen? 32 cards come out of the blue and get submitted to PSA. How does this happen? How does this even happen? Well, the perceived value and the perceived scarcity of this card, when I heard this happen, I said, this is insane. I mean, I am not attracted to this card anymore. The reason why I like this card so much is because it's rare. It's scarce. It's got a great story. It's got great artwork. It still has that, right? It still has great artwork and great story, but the scarcity now, down the drain. Let's say 19 of those were 10s, which they were, okay? And look at the pop report. You're going to say, oh, alternate artwork isn't, they're not showing PSA 10s. No, these are all graded as old labels, okay? So if you look at the old labels, there's 98 PSA 10s out there. Let's say 19 were from this person, this individual, and let's say there's 15 more from other people. 34 cards, at the very minimum, were PSA 10s, corrected arts, because I do know quite a few people that had it before this whole fiasco. Okay, 34 out of about 89. You're talking about 35%. 65% of the corrected artworks just from the regular booster packs are 10s. That is not as drastic as you think. For a card to be worth $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 in a PSA 10, I want that thing to be as scarce as gold, and it is not. Okay, the perceived scarcity, once I heard 32 of them submitted at one time, I guess, or maybe in a couple submissions, 32 overnight? That's telling me, holy crap. What's to say this could happen again? What's to say I have this $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 card, I go to bed one night, and I wake up the next morning, and it drops 80%. Because someone says, oh, let me look in my closet, I have 50 to 100 more. What's to say that that can't happen again? The riskiest investment of all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the corrected Dark Paladin. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. If you're buying this card at 5, 6, 7, if you're holding it as an investment at this kind of price point, good luck. You're rolling the dice, and it's a risk that I am not willing to take. It's a journey that is way too volatile for me to get on board. You know? And a lot of people, some people love it. Some people say, this is a great card. This is going to be worth 10, 12, 13, 14,000. Other people say, oh, it's not worth the price. Now, here's what you guys got to ask yourself from an investment perspective. Okay? If you're a collector and you just say, I need it for my set, that's great. And you don't care about the money, that's wonderful. More power to you. But if you're an investor in this and you're saying, I think this is going to keep going up, well, hear me out on this one. Let's say, hypothetically, you're right. No Paladins come uncovered or get uncovered. And the price keeps, naturally, supply dwindles. The price keeps going up. Goes up to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,000. Is it really worth the risk that instead waking up one day and saying, holy crap, there was another 30, 40 cards graded by one person? Is that, and it goes down to 1,000. Is it really worth the risk? You have to ask yourself. Is it worth the 10% increase year over year, which would be great, by the way, compared to the potential of an 80% fall? Because let's be honest, we look at a card like this, the fact that in April of 2019, 32 new cards were sent to PSA in mint condition. Who's to say this can't happen again? It may not, but who's to say it can't? Right? And this is a card made by Upper Deck. Upper Deck is a company, a large corporation that has been doing trading cards for a very long time, and actually has had some form of speculation about backdooring cards to employees. Who's to say that Upper Deck didn't say, hey, you were great, let's give you a raise. We'll give you a raise and we'll give you 50 of these cards that we produce. We'll give you 50 leftovers. Keep in mind, this is a card that isn't printed to demand. They're not going to say, oh, we got 5 in today. We're going to produce 5. We're going to cut them out of sheets and we're going to give them back. They're going to produce sheets at a time. Cut costs, raise margins. They're not producing 5 cards at a time. They're producing 50 cards at a time. I don't know the exact number on the sheets, but I do know as a company and a corporation, they're not going to say, they'll forecast a demand, and if it goes over the demand, they'll produce more. If it goes under the demand, they're going to have leftover. They're going to print mass quantities, by mass, relatively small compared to obviously everything else, but large quantities of cards. And whatever doesn't work or whatever doesn't sell, what do they do with the cards? Do you think really that it gets destroyed? Because if that were the case, how does someone have 30 plus in their possession? I'm not saying, I have no idea where this person or individual got all these cards. What I am saying is, that is a ton of cards for one single person to have. And again, who's to say somebody else doesn't have that kind of quantity? Right? And when you're talking about a card that's really not as scarce as a lot of people think. You're talking about a card that you could, a year or two ago, you could get 3 Paladins for the price of 1 Cyberstein or other prize card. And now, you'll get 2 Steins for the 1 Paladin, or 1 major prize card for the 1 Paladin. Give me the prize card any day of the week. I know it's quantity limited. I don't know the quantity of a Dark Paladin corrected art. I will never know, and I don't think anyone will ever know. And that uncertainty is what drives me so far away from this card. The uncertainty of, I can't tell you how many are out there. Nobody can. Yeah, it's an interesting story, but does it make for a good investment? The uncertainty behind it? I don't know. Does the scare of waking up one day to find a mass quantity of them hitting the market scare me? Absolutely, if I'm holding that kind of money in my hand. 100%. From an investment standpoint. If I had it in a collection, sure. But from an investment, I'd rather have a prize card. And that's what I did. I sold the card. I bought a prize card instead. And I'm much happier. And I sit every day knowing, there's a set amount out there of prize cards, and I'm okay. With Paladin, I'll wake up every morning saying, or one day we gonna find a bunch more? Are more gonna hit the market? And the fact that knowing some individual has 20, 30 of these at once, that to me is just, insane to think that it could be worth that kind of money. I look at these $1,000, the $5,000 cards, and I'm saying someone has 20. If someone has 10, 20, 30 of these, man, is it unattractive. It loses its lust. It's just not rare. Yeah, is it rare? Yeah, but is it $5,000 rare? I don't know. And to be honest with you, the error Paladin, the one that was just straight from the packs, isn't that much more common in PSA 10. You're talking about 20% more, which isn't that much more common. And look, I can't wait to hear everybody say, well, what if someone has 20 boxes of LOB and it totally busts the LOB market up open? And someone shows a photo of cases of LOB. Well, here's the thing. Someone has 20 boxes of LOB. The odds of you pulling a Blue Eyes or a Red Eyes or that's one specific card you're looking for, you're probably going to pull 4 or 5 out of those 20 boxes. So what's the worst that happens? 4 or 5 Blue Eyes or whatever card you really have invested, 4 or 5 of them go on the PSA population report? Not the end of the world. 20, 30, 40 copies of the corrected artwork going on the PSA market, going on the market in general, absolute catastrophe. Okay? This is a card, this was, I guess, a prototype, or a promo, I guess you could say, or a prize card, you could say, with an unknown quantity. And I hate the uncertainty. Uncertainty means there has to be a large reward at the end of the day, and a large premium for the risk that I'm taking, and I'm not seeing that premium right now. Absolutely not. I see more of a potential complete landslide on that card than I do of a major boost premium. So, just my opinion on it. What do you guys think? Dark Paladin, corrected art. What do you think? I'm not a buyer at the price. I would love to have it as a collector standpoint, but right now I'd rather have prize cards and then move on to the Paladin if I really wanted it.